short video on long-term athletic development for young athletes. So we firmly believe here at Bernardo's Training that we need to have a long-term, you need to approach athlete development or athletic development with a long-term mindset. Okay, some people are too short-term with it. You have to have a long-term mindset. Now, if you've noticed this whiteboard here, I wrote the best athletes get paid, not the most skilled. And when we say paid, what we're referring to is having success. So it's not necessarily signing a pro contract or getting a Division I scholarship. It just means having success. So for every athlete, this paid could be different. So for some athletes, that might be making varsity. For some athletes, it might be starting. For some athletes, it might be being all league. For some athletes, it might be being all state, all American, playing in college, getting a scholarship, becoming pro. So obviously, there's all different levels of success that an athlete could have, and that all depends on the individual athlete, their genetic makeup, what they really want to get out of sports. Some guys and girls don't care about being all-state. They just want to have fun and play with their friends. They might be very good. They might be all-state talent, but they're not really into it. So that's just, every guy and girl is going to be different with that. But just think substitute paid with success. And we say paid because, people's ears perk up when they hear that. So the best athletes get paid, not the most skilled. And the reason why we say this is because a lot of parents, coaches, and athletes, they mix up their development, long-term development. So what they do is, if you notice this pyramid here, I drew this pyramid bigger and higher on purpose. This one's smaller and shorter on purpose because the base of the pyramid has to be bigger for it to go higher. And the base of this pyramid is overall athleticism. The base of this pyramid is sports-specific skills. So the biggest mistake that you see people making now is they do sports-specific training constantly year-round, and they neglect their overall athleticism. So let me explain this. When I say overall athleticism, I'm talking about strength, explosiveness, speed, reaction, agility, mobility, coordination, work ethic, confidence. So all this stuff kind of falls in this category. I'm sure there's more stuff we could put in here and become more specific with this. And sports-specific skill would be practicing the actual sport or getting very close to that. So for baseball, it might be batting, pitching, fielding. For wrestling, it would be going and wrestling at club wrestling or matches and stuff like that, practicing wrestling. And I'm not saying, we're not knocking the sports-specific training. You obviously have to do. You can't play baseball if you don't go and practice your batting. But what a lot of people do is they neglect their overall athleticism in place of sports-specific skills, and it's a huge mistake. And here's why: your ceiling, when you have a good base of athleticism, your ceiling is much higher. Meaning, if we take two athletes, let's say I'm an athlete and I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I can run faster, I'm more explosive, I have more confidence, I have a better work ethic, I'm more coordinated. And this athlete over here lacks in those areas, but he might, we're both 12 years old, he might have a better swing. Okay. Now, as we grow up and as we progress, at 16, my swing is going to be able to be a lot better because I'm stronger, I'm more explosive, I'm faster. I'm going to be more highly recruited. I'm going to have what the recruiters, what the coaches, what they're going to want to see. The scouts, they're going to want to see a better athlete because they know that they can teach guys to bat, they can teach guys to throw. And the same holds true across the board. In football, the fastest guys went out. The most explosive guys, the biggest guys, the strongest guys. They could teach you to block, they could teach you to catch, or maybe not catch, but they could teach you those things. They could teach you the skills of football as long as you're a good athlete. And the same with baseball, the same with wrestling, the same with softball, the same with lacrosse, basketball, all this stuff. I mean, you see guys go into the NFL that never even played college football. Why is that? Because their overall athleticism is huge. Okay? So this is a big problem, and the reason why I talk about this is because I had lunch with a colleague of mine. He runs a baseball program, and he said, I'm having a big problem. These kids are very skilled baseball, but they're going to, nowadays, it's not like it was 20 years ago. You go to showcases and it's like the NFL Combine. They want the strongest guys, the fastest guys, and everything's about the numbers you could put up at these showcases or combines. It's the same for all sports now. They actually have it for wrestling. So they want to get the best athletes and take those guys and progress them up to the next level. And they want to weed out the guys that don't have the athleticism. So, and girls. So, where was I? So I was talking to the coach, and he said these kids are 15, 16 years old, relatively young when you think about an athlete, but they're already shot, they're beat. They're not getting any offers, especially in baseball, because things happen earlier. And freshman, sophomore, junior seasons are big. Senior season doesn't even matter. So they're not getting any offers because they've completely neglected. They went with this pyramid, and they completely neglected their overall athleticism. Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to cram 8 years of speed training into 8 months, and it's not going to work. It just doesn't work like that. You can't do that. You can't cram. This isn't school. You can't just cram for an algebra test, get an A, move on to the next thing. In athletic development, everything has to be layered one on top of another, and you can't cram. So I feel bad for these kids, but that's what's happened. And to avoid this from happening, here's what I believe athletes should do. And I've trained, at this point, hundreds, if not over 1,000 athletes here at Bernardo's Training, and we see the same thing across the board. The best athletes are getting paid. So play multiple sports when you're young. Expose kids to multiple sports at a young age. And when I'm saying young, I'm not saying 18. That's young, but that's at 18 you need to have picked a sport by then. When you're young, I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Play multiple sports. Find out what they're good at. Just because they like something, or just because their parents were good at something, doesn't mean they're going to excel in that sport. Everybody's born with different genetics and different muscle fiber types, so you need to find out what an athlete's going to excel at. When they're really young, switch sports year to year. In the fall, play soccer, and then next fall, play football, and the next fall, play something else, run, cross country. Play unorganized sports. This is huge, and it's very overlooked. Everything now is organized. If Johnny can't just go to the playground and play pickup basketball with his friends, it's going to be, mommy brought Johnny, mommy's watching, making sure that their coach is there, instructing, and they have a referee. They need to play unorganized. What happens is when everything's always so organized, they're very robotic. So they become robotic. They don't learn fluidness. They don't mess around. They don't learn to just have fun and play loose and develop skills that maybe some of the other guys don't have. Every athlete's not the same. They need to find themselves. And you find yourself as an athlete by playing unorganized. And the last one would be train. Listen, I'm biased. That's why I put a smiley face there. But they need to be training. And it doesn't have to be organized in a facility like this. It can be. Obviously, we know what we're doing, and we've trained hundreds of thousands of kids. But they need to train. So they need to be working on jumping. They need to be working on cutting. And they need to be working on getting stronger and all this stuff. This is huge because the lack of just outdoor play now and that type of thing. Training has now replaced that for young kids. So start them young so they don't have to cram. But they don't have to be, like I was going to say, they don't have to be here at our gym. They could be at another gym or another training facility. They don't have to even do it organized. They could do it at home. Maybe, an uncle, a parent, you guys are good at this stuff, and you could teach your kid to jump and teach your kid to work out and teach your kid to do that type of stuff. But it doesn't have to be organized, but they should start to train at a relatively young age. I would say, unorganized, maybe at home at 7 or 8, 9. If they get old enough. Here we take them around 11 or 12, but that would be the last thing. And then, again, just remember, you have to develop the overall athleticism before you start to develop before you really start to delve in and develop sport specific skills. Your ceiling will be higher and you'll be better off in the long run.